In this video, we will show you how to replace your rear brake flex hose on this Honda Accord. This is part of your braking system located inside of your rear wheel well. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing you need to do is safely raise and support the rear of the vehicle so the wheel's off the ground. Once you've done so, we'll continue on by removing all 5 of our 19mm lug nuts and then the wheel. Now that we have the wheel out of the way, we have a clear view of our rear caliper. We want to pay attention to the bleeder screw. Once you change out that flex hose, you will have to bleed the brakes, so it's important that this does open up. Make sure you have a collection bucket under the area so you can recycle the fluid properly. We'll use a 10mm. Just turn this a couple turns. Once you see a steady trickle of fluid coming out of here, continue on by pressing your brake pedal all the way to the floor and holding it there with a bar of some sort. Once you've done that, you should have found that fluid came out of this and then it stopped. Once it stopped flowing, continue on by tightening your bleeder screw. Just snug it up. Let's move from the bleeder screw to the banjo bolt. This bolt holds the flex hose to the caliper. You should find you have 2 gaskets. I'll be using an 11mm to loosen this. There's our banjo bolt. At this point, you want to give it a close inspection. I can see my gasket is still on here. It's important to make sure that you remove that and recycle it properly. Before I do so, I'll also pay attention in between the flex hose and the caliper itself. There should be another gasket. Remove that from the area as well. The next thing we'll do is just give the banjo bolt a quick inspection, make sure it's not rotted or damaged, and then also pay attention to the caliper. I'll clean up this area, a quick inspection. Now let's continue on along the forward side of the knuckle so we can start dismounting the flex hose. There it is right there. We'll use our 12mm to remove this bolt. Now we can remove our flex hose from the upper line. You'll find that you have a 10mm headed fitting that goes directly down into the flex hose. It's a good idea to use a flare end wrench for this, so you're grabbing onto as much of that fitting as possible. Try to get that to break free. While I'm doing this, I'm also paying attention to the steel line just above that fitting. You want to ensure that it's not twisting while I'm turning this. If that's the case, the line is stuck in the fitting and you want to make sure you free that up as well. Now that the line is broken free from the hose, let's continue on to removing the one clip that is holding this hose into the bracket. To do that, you can use some pliers. We'll grab onto the ear, give it a little tug, and slide it out of there. Inspect your clip, make sure it's still in good, reusable condition. Take hold of the flex hose, give it a little wiggle, and separate it from the bracket. There it is, friends. Let's clean and inspect our steel line, the fitting, and the mounting bracket. Let's get ready to install our brand new flex hose. Look up at the end that will go with that brake line. You'll find this isn't a perfect circle. It has a flat area here. If you were to look at the bracket, you'll find the exact same thing. Make sure you have this aligned properly with the flat area facing out. Align the flex hose with the bracket and put in your locking clip. You want to make sure you have the ear where my index finger is facing up. Let's tap that in there. Continue tightening your brake line. We'll make sure we use a flare wrench for this, just so we're sure it's nice and tight. Double check this area. Let's route the brake hose. We'll bring it right underneath this area and align our mounting bracket just underneath the rear strut. Once you feel as though you have it properly aligned, continue on with your 12mm headed mounting bolt. Torque this to 7.2 foot-pounds. Once you have that secure, make your way along the backside here again. We're going to connect the flex hose to the brake caliper. To do that, you need your banjo bolt. We'll start on one of those gaskets. Now we can take this and we'll slide it right on through the flex hose. Take your other gasket and put it on the opposite side of the flex hose. Now you've got one on each side. We'll slide this into position and start it in by hand so we're sure we are not cross-threading it. After that, you can snug it up and torque it to 25 foot-pounds. Double check everything's nice and tight. Release pressure from your brake pedal. Make your way under the hood. You're looking for the brake master cylinder, which is right along the driver's side. We're going to open up the cap. We'll give the seal a quick inspection, and now we'll just rest this on top so nothing can fall inside. We'll leave it open for now and make our way to the rear at that bleeder screw. With the collection bucket under this area, open up your bleeder screw and allow the system to gravity bleed. You should see fluid and a little bit of air making its way out of here. We'll wait until we see a steady trickle of fluid. After that, we'll close this off, fill our fluid, and continue on with a manual brake bleed. Now that I see a steady trickle of fluid coming out of here, we'll continue on to closing this bleeder screw. Now it's time for the manual bleed. This is easiest with a second person. We'll have one person out here at the bleeder screw. The second person will be inside of the passenger compartment. The person in the passenger compartment is going to pump up the brake pedal. After that, they're going to hold it. Let me know they're holding it and I'll open up this bleeder screw. We're watching to see fluid coming out of here, but we're also paying attention for air. If you see any air, we're going to have to repeat the process. Let's go ahead and pump up the brake pedal. Saw a little bit of air there. Go ahead and pump it. I got no air on that second time there. We'll just have them do it one more time. Go ahead and pump. Okay, you can release that brake pedal. Now after a couple times of not seeing any air coming out of the bleeder screw, go ahead and clean up your mess, especially around where the banjo bolt is. We need to make sure we don't have a leak, so we'll just go ahead and ask them to put some pressure on that brake pedal one last time. It's nice and dry. Perfect. All set, thanks. Give the area a quick rinse. Reinstall your bleeder screw cover. Let's go ahead and top off that brake fluid. Now up here, you'll find that you need to use either .3 or .4 fluid. It's important to make sure that you confirm that your cap is nice and tight so no dirty air or moisture can make its way inside there. Once you've done that, you can continue on to reinstalling the wheel. Start on each of your 19mm lug nuts. We'll bottom these out, get the wheel safely back on the ground, and then we can torque each of these to 80 foot-pounds. Now that the wheel's back on the ground, we'll torque these in a crisscross manner. Torqued. Okay friend, we've got the car back together. At this point, you want to start it up, take it for a road test, and make sure you don't have any ABS light. Aside from that, thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.